tonight's Zoom debate between Kata Dean and Riley Smith, our candidates in the general election for Spokane Public Schools, position number 4. We want to give everybody a chance to hear your views, hear what you guys are all about, and talk about what needs to happen in schools and all of that. We're going to hope to talk for about 30 minutes or so on a variety of topics. And I just, first of all, want to start off and give each of you a chance to give an opening statement of about 60 seconds. And we will start with you, Kata.
Thank you. I want to thank Jim Allen and especially the spokesman for this opportunity. I am Kata Dean, a mother of 5, and running for school board is actually very personal to me. Raising my family and being a part of this school district has given me a lot of great opportunities to see what's going on and to form my perspective. You know, I've worked with drug and alcohol addicted teens, victims of sex abuse. And, you know, I just know firsthand and secondhand how our lives are being impacted by this pandemic. I want to use my experience as a mother and as an advocate for children in crisis. I want to bring that fresh perspective to our school board. Thank you.
Riley, go ahead.
Awesome. Thank you, Jim. Thank you to the spokesman and Northwest Passages and everyone behind the scenes making this happen. We really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you, Kata, for being here as well. My name is Riley Smith. I'm running for Spokane Public Schools Board of Directors, as you know. And I'm running for school board to really bring my experience as a student in the system to the board. I've spent 13 years as a student in Spokane Public Schools. I spent every year of my public education attending a school in Spokane Public Schools. I've graduated in the last decade, so I can really relate to what those students are feeling in the seats. I have relationships with the teachers from every grade level, elementary school, middle school, high school. And I really want to make sure that all of those voices are being heard, bringing a student voice to the board, as well as bringing a graduate voice to the board, which only has one graduate on the board right now. So I think it's really important that we use this opportunity to add another Spokane Public Schools graduate. And I look forward to answering some questions.
All right, awesome. And we're going to start with a coin flip, which you can't see. You'll just have to trust me, and we'll let you call it, Riley. Heads or tails, and I'm going to call it, and you'll have the choice to go first or second. And I think you guys are familiar with the format. I will ask a question, and the first person will talk, the second person will respond, and the first person will have at their option a chance for another 30 seconds to reply, kind of like a rebuttal. So here we go, and I'm going to flip it up, and you can call it, Riley. It is tails.
I will go second.
All right. So we're going to start with you, Kata. And the first question I have, you guys really answered. Actually, I had a first question, which was about why you guys are running, and you guys answered that so well. I'm going to go to question 2, which is, you know, the fact that both of you have really strong ties to the district in very different ways. But I think you can both probably speak pretty well to the issues of academics, which is, you know, what we're most involved with, I think. How do you feel that the district is doing in its primary goal of educating young citizens?
All right, yeah, the district, you know, that should be the main goal of a school district, right? And as we're moving forward, working through this pandemic, you know, definitely my first priority would be to have our children in school. You know, that's where the teachers work the best. That's where they know how to do it. That's where our children receive the optimal education. You know, I would say our school district is doing their best, but I would say there are some problems that I foresee. I feel like, you know, we are so far behind, and we were even behind before the pandemic. Now, in this, you know, 2020, we didn't get a chance to test our kids, and so we're speculating, yes, they are far behind. So I would just like to see, man, is there any testing? Can we get a baseline? Can we see where our kids are at so we can move forward and know how to really hustle up and get them through this? So that's definitely a priority that I feel like, I don't know if we're nailing that quite yet.
Riley, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that the school district in the past 10 years has moved in a really good direction, in my opinion, in educating our students. Our graduation rates are up all across the district. But I think there is still room to improve, of course. And I think that that room to improve is developing a skill set for our kids to succeed beyond the 12th grade in Spokane public schools. When I went to school, it was all about you need to attend college, you need to go to a 4-year university to succeed and have a job in this economy. And that is not true. We do have great choice programs. We have the skills center, we have new tech places where kids can learn in a variety of ways and increase those pathways to success beyond 12th grade. And I would like to see those investments be furthered into our actual traditional school buildings, our high schools and our middle schools, and just give these kids more options to learn. And it doesn't have to be a one size fits all.
Kata, do you have anything else to say?
No, that's great.
Okay. Second question, and this time we'll start with you, Riley. Looking at this past year, and there have been some momentous decisions by this school board. We've had a lot of controversy. We've had a lot of tough decisions. We've had some crazy circumstances, but are there some decisions that this board has made that you maybe say, I maybe would have gone in a different direction or maybe done something else?
Yeah, I mean, look, this, like you said, this year has been past year and a half now, plus has been a lot of work. Our school board is in the spotlight, and that's really rare. Usually they go about their work and not many people know what they're doing, but because they're making these huge decisions and covered in the paper and the local news, they've been brought to light. And I'll say they've done the best that they can with the resources that they've been provided. I support a lot of the work that they've been doing, and I just look to continue building on that work. I support their work in equity and forwarding that mission in our school district. So I look forward to, when elected, advancing that mission. They've done a great job of getting our kids back in school safely so that they can learn in the classroom without putting themselves and other people at risk. I think that that will continue to be a priority and their main priority going through this year. And I look forward to assisting in that task should I be elected.
Kata?
Yeah, like Riley, I agree. They have had quite the undertaking, and I have seen just these big decisions, just a lot of work and a lot of effort as I have tuned into their board meetings and been a part of them. I would say some of the problems that I've heard just when meeting with the community members, they just feel like their voices aren't being heard. So that would be as far as like the stadium, right? Moving the stadium, they sent out a vote. The people didn't vote for it downtown. There was miscommunication. There's the boundary changes, right? That wasn't brought out. I mean, right in the end there, it was kind of hustled through so people could see what's going on. Recently, the South Hill Dog Park, right, for the new middle school. I mean, there's just been things like that. I feel like the board is just not communicating, and they are pushing hard on other things. And I just hope we can bring our focus really to educate these kids back to reading, writing, and arithmetic.
Riley, any comments on those issues?
My only comment would really be is that if our schools were reduced to reading, writing, and arithmetic, we would not be preparing our students for all of the vast problems that are going to be approaching while they're in school and after they graduate. Students need to learn how to handle their emotions and interacting with people, interview skills, more tangible skills that they can bring forward with them. I don't think that our school board should be just focused on those 3 issues. While it should be a huge focus, it shouldn't be the primary focus.
Okay, our next question, we'll start with you, Kata. And obviously, we're going to talk about COVID a little bit tonight. And kids are back in school and they are wearing masks as per the governor's mandate. What's your take on that mandate, and how do you think it's working at this point? And do you agree with it?
Yeah, thank you. This is a question that I get a lot on the campaign trail. So I appreciate this opportunity to share how I feel. Obviously, I've stated already that our children need to be in school full time, 5 days a week. And so if putting a mask is on, that would be a small inconvenience for education in our schools and doing that sort of thing. However, I do not agree with mandates. I feel like we should have local control, right? We have the statistics. We have all the knowledge that we need to make these choices for our own school board. Meanwhile, someone clear across the state in an office with advisors gets to make the decisions for all of us. I just feel like that's a disconnect. I feel like, yes, having the mask is working, and I can back that up, but I just do have concerns about the mandates.
Riley?
Yeah, I like Kata. My main priority is keeping students in school, in the classroom, but I think it needs to be done safely more than anything else. Actually, the regional health district has laid out a roadmap of how we can do that safely, wearing masks, social distancing, maintaining proper airflow in classrooms, even using outdoor spaces when we can. I look forward to following the guidance from our regional health district that says this is the best way to go. My opponent mentioned the statistics and the data, and it is not good for when it comes to COVID-19 in our region. So it concerns me when someone running for school board wants to cite those statistics and data as a reason why we should have a choice in the matter. I agree there should be local choice, but the statistics and the data support that we should be wearing masks and we should be social distancing in our schools. And I also, my opponent's been seen at anti-mask protests at the school board, at the district, at school board meetings without a mask, clapping and cheering. And I think that it's problematic to now come around and say, yeah, masks are a good idea.
Okay, thank you, Riley. Thank you, Riley. And Kata, I want to give you some time to respond to that.
Yes, thank you. I was not protesting, Riley. Yeah, I was at the school board meeting. It was the first school board meeting where we could actually meet in person. And the mask mandate was not in effect. It actually was coming up on that following Monday. So nobody had to have a mask. In fact, the school board actually shut down the meeting where people did not mask up because the mandate was in effect. I will abide by the laws and ordinances that are set by our school, and our school will not, they will always go with the Department of Health, and I will abide by that as well.
Thank you. Thank you. One more COVID question. We're just going to do two because we have many other important things to talk about. This question centers on the issue of vaccinations. Obviously, most employees are getting vaccinated. Many probably don't want to, but this is obviously a very controversial issue with public employees. Riley, what's your take on the vaccination mandate in public education?
Look, we have had vaccine requirements in schools for decades, since before my parents attended school, for MMR, chickenpox, tetanus, other things that, were diseases that needed to be taken under control. And they proved to be effective. We actually eradicated polio because there was not much vaccine resistance. I think that we should continue to allow the exemptions that are in place for these vaccination requirements that are personal, religious, and medical reasons that, someone may qualify for. We have a roadmap to follow when it comes to vaccine requirements, and it's been extremely effective for decades in keeping our staff, our students, our families safe. So I think, yes, vaccine requirements in our schools are not a problem as long as we keep those exemptions in place for personal, religious, and medical reasons.
Your turn, Kata.
Yes, I too am for vaccines. I have vaccinated my children. I'm completely vaccinated. We are for vaccines. But yes, I do feel like this is a private decision, like all vaccines have been. Like Riley says, there are exemptions, right? But we're finding out that there aren't exemptions, with our county workers, with our firefighters. I've met with firefighters on the campaign trail. They can't even get exemptions. So they either have to quit and lose their job. So these are community members. And now they are saying, what is going to happen at our schools? Are you going to make our children get vaccinated? Some people are losing faith in in that sort of thing, being forced to do things when they have, like you said, their personal beliefs are at stake, or, maybe their health. So I really think that we should be consulting with our doctors and doing what's best, and that this is a private decision for families to make.
Thank you. Next question is for you, Kata, and now we're done with COVID. Thank you.
All right.
One of the most far-reaching decisions this board has made, probably the biggest, and probably didn't get enough attention, is the recent boundary changes that will affect tens of thousands of children for many years to come. It's been criticized on equity grounds that maybe these boundaries should have been thought out a little more, or whatever. Kata, what's your take on the boundary revisions, and particularly in respect to equity issues?
Yes. Let's see. With the boundary changes, I mean, how difficult was that undertaking, right? I met with parents that were actually on the board for the last 2 years, and they worked every possible angle, bus routes. I mean, they considered everything. And, the school lunch thing was brought up as a concern, but that really wasn't the only concern. I mean, why would we put our children on our bus rides each way, to make it? What would make things equitable and match up with our equity policy would be to fund programs for the lower income areas, help these children in other ways. If we don't want to bus them all the way out, away from a school that is in walking distance, right? We want to give them these equitable programs that would help enhance their learning, provide mental health care, and all sorts of things to help with that big gap that they are feeling.
Riley, your take on the boundary issue?
Yeah, again, a huge decision that they had to make in this past year that impacts our schools for 40 years to come. I think that they did the best that they could. You're never going to make everybody happy with a decision of that scale. I personally was on the other side, where I would have liked to see more diversity in our schools, in helping our teachers and our staff before students show up to school, for more equitable schools. But the decision's been made, and I have to move on. Should I be elected, I will support all of these programs that Kata mentions in terms of for our lower income schools. Magnet programs, I think, would be great to combat the more poverty in one school. These are proven ways to combat that and make the schools more equitable. And at the end of the day, should I be elected, I look forward to making sure that all of our schools are great and high performing schools for our students to attend.
Kata?
Yeah,
Any,
I think,
comment?
no, I think that's great.
Awesome. Okay, next question is for you, Riley, and this is dealing with the equity policy, which was passed just last month by the school board. And the purpose, according to its preamble, is to address the persistent disparities among students of color and other historically underrepresented students. Do you believe that there is institutional racism in Spokane public schools today?
I do believe that there's institutional racism in all of our government systems, not just Spokane public schools, that we need to be combating. We need to go on the offense, which the equity resolution does, and I support. I think when you think about equity, it's like, what does equity mean to me? And that's bringing all of the supports to all of our students and eliminate as many barriers to success as we possibly can, regardless of skin color, class, or anything of that matter. A tangible way to do that is to invest in wraparound mental health services to help combat mental health challenges that students are facing. Invest in apprenticeship programs, wood shops, metal shops, auto shops to increase pathways to success for our students and give them another way to succeed if they're not, best suited for a traditional classroom setting. This is a tangible way for us to create more opportunity for our students and eliminate barriers of success. Also, ending generational poverty for some of these families. So I think that
Thank you.
That should be a priority for us.
Kata?
Yeah, can you repeat the question one more time?
we're talking about the equity policy that was passed
Right.
earlier this year with a stated purpose of, quote, addressing the persistent disparities among students of color and other historically underrepresented students. Do you believe that there is a history of institutional racism in Spokane public schools?
Thank you. Yes, the equity policy has been just kind of this big, huge undertaking. And as I have watched the school board, you know, even in their special interest meetings, how they have gone line by line and, you know, worked really hard to make this across the board. You know, some of my input was, you know, are we meeting all the needs, or are we just focusing on race? You know, are we also focusing on special needs? Are we also focusing on the poverty and all the things that these other issues that are going on in our school district? My concern with it, are we missing the mark just focusing just on this equity policy completely all through the summer, having several meetings about it when we were just jumping right back into full person instruction, where we have kids far below, you know, even 40% of our students weren't meeting standards in some of our lower income schools. So I just feel like, are we missing the mark by putting all this focus on the equity? Of course, I think equity is important. Of course, we've got to root that out. Oh, sorry.
Do you have a response?
Yeah, I just want to be clear in that I'd support the equity resolution. You know, I support anything that would call for addressing the achievement and opportunity gap for our students, increasing community and family engagement in our schools. And this is across the board. This, you know, there is a focus on certain populations, but this is across the board. We want to address the achievement and opportunity gap everywhere. We want to address community and family engagement everywhere. So I think that is the way that I would carry out the equity policy.
Yeah.
Now, one more thing, I have to apologize, Riley. I did not give you a chance to offer a rebuttal to Kata's comments about vaccines. So I wanted to give you that opportunity now.
Oh, I'm okay. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Next question for Kata. You've criticized the district for allegedly teaching critical race theory. And we know that racial discrimination has played a large part in our country's history. How should that part of history be taught in our public schools? How should it be addressed or treated in for example, a civics class?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. You know, critical race theory, there is a lot of fuss about it, right? And I have met with the director of public instruction, and I've met with the superintendent because I did experience it firsthand, even with my daughter. So here's where I think we need to be. We definitely need to have a full education, a full history of America, warts and all. We need an accurate history. We need to share everything about that. I'm not afraid of that. I'm not afraid of teaching racism and bigotry. However, I am afraid to bring up activists, critical race theory activists, like in my daughter's class, that wasn't approved curriculum, have them read it, have them declare that they are racist in class. You know, that part I'm not okay with, but I do want an accurate history. And our history books do not include a completely accurate history. And that is where I think we are lacking in the district.
Riley?
Yeah, look, I can't speak to this, you know, certain experience that Kata had with her student, but I can be clear in the fact that Spokane Public Schools is not teaching critical race theory. It's not in their curriculum. And to be quite frank, it's a non-issue here locally. When I talk to people at the doors, this is a non-issue. You know, this is a national issue that the far right is pushing on local politics that doesn't exist. You know, the real issue that I believe that we should be talking about here are organizations that aren't supporting public school levies, actually opposing them, including the Republican Party and We Believe We Vote, who both support my candidate, my opponent. So I just want to create the contrast in the fact that I am supported by Spokane Education Association, our teachers union, Spokane Regional Labor Council, groups that support levies. Levies fund things such as nurses, counselors, extracurriculars like arts. These are things that grow our schools. And I think that that's a real issue we should be talking about locally, not critical race theory.
Kata?
You know what? I just had like a low internet connection on there. I'm just trying to text my family and tell them to get off the internet. I mean, I have a couple different internet feeds. Can you just pause for 1 second? I mean, I really couldn't catch Riley's comment. So it paused and hiccuped.
Can you, would you be okay, Riley, if you kind of repeated what you just said? Would that work for you, Kata?
Yeah, let me just finish this
little
message. I mean, everyone just got home from the cross country meet and the volleyball practice.
I hope they went well.
I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know if you can hear it back there, but
yeah, go ahead.
It's just like everyone.
Riley. Tell us.
Sorry, Riley.
Oh, no problem. You want me to go from the top?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yes.
If I can rewind.
You're good. I just said, I can't speak to Kata's specific experience in classroom with her children, but what I can speak to is the curriculum of Spokane Public Schools, and critical race theory is not a part of it. This is just not an issue in Spokane. This is an issue that's being pushed by the national far-right media to try to bring into local politics. And when I talk to people at the doors, this is not an issue. What people are concerned about and what issue we should be talking about are public school levies and funding our public schools. The Republican Party and We Believe We Vote were two organizations that opposed our public school levy that recently passed. Both organizations at which, well, the Republican Party supports my opponent and We Believe We Vote supports her 90%. I'm supported by groups like the Teachers Union and the Spokane Regional Labor Council that endorse levies and want programs for our students like nurses and counselors in the arts. So I think those are real issues we should be talking about, and there's no place to really be talking about critical race theory.
Thank you. Go ahead, Kata.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, when I've been doorbelling, I actually have met probably 3 other families that are experiencing problems with critical race theory being taught to their children. So yeah, like Riley said, it's not part of our curriculum. It's not, like they've attested, but the teachers have their prerogative to put in what they want. And, as I have gone through this process, I just want to be a voice for families and say there are proper channels that you can take to object this being taught to your children. You can talk to the principal and then up to the superintendent, to the director of public instruction, and there can be movement made in that regard, and there can be checks and balances with the teachers to stay in check.
All right, thank you. Last question. This will be for you, Riley. Bottom line question, which is really about the bottom line and the $600 million budget that this district is responsible for. It's a lot of money, and I would like to kind of get your perspective on how you feel that money is being spent, wisely or not, if there's some things that you feel are being under-supported or over-supported. Go ahead.
Yeah, $600 million is quite the task. I think our school district has, again, in the past decade, moved in a great way of investing in our kids and in our staff to have the opportunity to succeed. I want to just continue that investment and invest more in areas such as wraparound services for, mental health challenges our students are facing, apprenticeship programs to end generational poverty and also build our local economy as we're missing workers in the workforce. These are tangible ways, again, to create more pathways to success that will require investment from the school district to do effectively. Recently, again, my opponent in the We Believe We Vote questionnaires stated that she strongly agrees that we should not be providing social services as basic as meals for our most vulnerable students. It's alarming to me that someone would say they strongly agree with sending kids to school hungry. And that's actually not even something that the school district has prerogative over. Those are Title I funds that come from the federal government.
Thank you, Riley. Kata?
Thank you, Riley, for my chance to clear up some of these We Believe We Vote questionnaires. I've reached out to them to also, we have, as far as the levy and the big, huge budget that has come forth, I really think we need to be able to focus on things that are sustainable. Even when we're putting programs in place, we just had this huge COVID relief fund as well given to us. And yeah, I think that that's important that we have transparency. I definitely want transparency. Do you know when I went to try to find our school budget, it took me 45 minutes to locate it, going through different websites and part of the school district to locate the budget and the itemized budget that was provided. Yes, mental health is important. All of these things are important, but I do think that meal programs are important. I disagreed with the meal programs that they were giving to every single person in our school district last year. Did you know that my kids could have breakfast, lunch, and take stuff home for dinner? Every single child. That was a lot of money. And although it was coming from other sources, I thought, oh, we could use this money in so many other ways. Why are we putting it all? It's changed now. Now they have to reapply, and I think that is appropriate.
Riley?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to be clear that anyone can find these answers on the We Believe We Vote questionnaire, and it said she strongly agrees that we shouldn't be providing these services. So she can try to spin it in a different way, but that's what the words say in black and white. I want to continue investing in our students. I don't really see a problem with your kids being able to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner provided by the school district. I think it's great that we're feeding kids. I want to invest in our students and continue to set them up for success.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we should definitely feed our kids. I mean, but to say that money couldn't be used in other ways, we are, like you said, mental health, you understand how expensive that is. And if we could provide more opportunities, I mean, I'm a mental health advocate. We need more therapists in our schools. There's discrepancies. They don't even have a place to actually be and give these services to these children. Why couldn't we use some of that money that we're dishing out food for?
This is a good conversation. Okay, we give you one last rebuttal, Riley. We're going off format a little bit, but that's okay.
When we think about the hierarchy of needs, right? Like what's at the very bottom, eating, drinking, being able to survive. How are our students going to be able to do anything if they're showing up to school hungry? I mean, this is a basic need that I think is extremely important
for the hungry.
And it's also again Title I funds that are allocated for us. These are dedicated resources that we cannot reallocate. That's the way the budget works.
All right.
So I don't know how she's saying we can just throw them at mental health, because that's not where those funds come from.
Okay, Kate, I'm going to give you one more chance to talk. Go ahead.
Thank you. Yes, that's not what I'm saying. Reallocate our those funds, because really these children are hungry. Children need to eat. There was a child that I worked with at the school that would come without eating. He would come late, 45 minutes late. Do you know the first thing that I did before I helped tutor him? I got him breakfast, because he couldn't function otherwise. And you know what? I let him have a little nap because mom had let him stay up all night watching TV. He was not being cared for at home. So yes, we do need these programs, but no, we don't need to send everybody home with food. But these things, when that survey came out, was during that time where we were experiencing food. The school would call me and she would say, Kata, come down here. We have so much food. I have milk that's going to go bad. I know you have a big family. You know, I had shopped for my family. I didn't need it, but I would pick the milk up. I would distribute it to people that I knew. But yes, there was too much food. And so to say that money couldn't go somewhere else.
Riley, we'll give you one last few seconds to respond to that.
Words have consequences and implications. And when you say certain things, I would expect people to mean those certain things. And that's what I would expect from a school board member as well. If someone checked off a box that said they strongly agree that we should be reeling in social services, such as meals for our students, I would expect that that's what they're going to do. So I just want to make clear that that's what the survey said, and anyone can read it on We Believe We Vote.
All right. Thank you, Riley.
Thanks, Riley, for the chance to clarify.
All right. Appreciate it. Time for closing chat. A statement from each of you. We're going to start with you, Riley, and you've got 30 seconds to make one last statement.
Yeah, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, Kata, for having a lively debate. Staying on the issues, I appreciate that. And I just think that I am the best one for this position because I have the experience in the classroom that our board is hungry for. We need someone who knows what students are feeling in the classroom and how we can provide them more resources. I'm supported by our teachers union. I'm supported by the Regional Labor Council. If you want to learn more about me, you can go to electrileysmith.com to donate or volunteer. And I look forward to the election in November.
Thank you, Riley. Kata, you have the last word.
Great. Thank you so much, Jim and the spokesman, for this opportunity. And Riley, it's been lively and exciting. I just want to reiterate my experience as a mother and being in this realm and experiencing it. I want to be your voice. And, Riley, his experience in the district, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, this is a critical time and a critical time for us and space for us to be right now. So not only do I need your vote, but you need my voice. So come prove who you are and vote for Kata Dean.
Thank you very much. That was wonderful. I think we're
thanks, Jim.
Done here. That was great. You guys were great. Appreciate it very much. And good luck to you in the campaigns. We'll be talking again.
All right. Take care.
Thank you.
All right. Have a great